Well, it finally happened. I've been waiting years to make this video. So recently, as we all know, Iruma's secret was finally exposed and bro was cooked. But somehow, this chapter has made things even worse. Iruma hasn't just been arrested, he's officially said goodbye to Clara, to Asmodeus, and to all of Babyls. He has finally confessed after over 400 chapters to his best friends that he's human. But that's not even the craziest part, because as he's being dragged back to Earth, our co-opera finally made their move. And if I'm right, the whole Netherworld is about to descend into pure chaos. So what the hell happened? And what's about to go down after this insanity of a chapter? Well, immediately following my previous video, Iruma is still in handcuffs, as Kalego, Balam, and Henry appear at once, wondering what the hell was going on. As I said previously, Henry had no idea Narnia was planning this shit, and it's even more clear that this was a setup from the start, saying that he was just there for Shida, but Iruma just happened to reveal that he's human, like, yeah, sure buddy, we all believe you. We then get an absolutely peak scene of Iruma stumbling, trying to explain himself, but guess who defends him? Kalego, saying, don't say anything. Like he's our boy's lawyer. Honestly, the look on Iruma's face when he realizes that Kalego clearly already knew that he was human is honestly really bittersweet to me. He looks so happy knowing that he can be accepted for who he is, but in this situation, it barely even matters. Remember that he's known for a while about Iruma's identity and was on the side of plausible deniability, because there's surely some way that they can spin it that Iruma isn't human somehow. But whilst Narnia tries to take Iruma away, Kalego challenges his brother with zero hesitation in this sick ass panel with the two of them, repeating what he said to Balam when he found out Iruma is human, that this is Babyls. Iruma is a student here, and as the guard dog of this school, his job is to defend his students. Narnia then gets pissed off because Kalego is just being a familiar at this point. Now, a few of you guys in the Discord were actually wondering, how the hell does he even know this? But there's a pretty easy explanation. Now, he says that they've already investigated everything, but chances are that he was told by a certain someone. Now, during the Heartbreaker arc, we saw Iruma, through pure instinct, call on Kalego to protect him against Atari, and his powers are identical to his actual form. Well, a little cuter, but pretty much. Atari seemed to already know before he even entered Babyls that this was the case based on his reaction when he confronted Kalego, but this was just the final confirmation that he needed. So as I said that Bar was working with Narnia, he likely just told Narnia about it recently. My reasoning for this is that he didn't bring it up to Kalego when he was warning him about Iruma's true nature and the Geopolitical, which would have been the perfect time to bring up the fact that he is in fact a human's familiar. So yeah, Baal has been instigating shit again. Everything goes from absolutely crazy to just devastating and depressing, as Azz and Clara show up to the roof wondering where the hell Iruma is because he didn't show up, only to see Shida tied up and Iruma in goddamn handcuffs. Iruma has a look of pure horror and sorrow, realizing that, yep, they're about to find out, as the goat Asmodeus doesn't care what he's against, dashing towards border control to save his king. Narnia then tries to expose Iruma to Azz, but remember that Iruma said that when his identity is revealed, it has to come from him. So he screams out for Narnia to stop, and this shit-eating grin gets me so angry. It's the most pissed off I've ever been when reading this manga. He knew exactly what he was doing. Iruma apologizes to Kalego, knowing that what he's about to admit will give him no excuses anymore. They can't use plausible deniability because he says that they need to hear it from him. So Kalego lets it happen. Iruma and his best friends meet, and as Iruma reaches out to them, he asks them to listen to his final request. Iruma brings back what Azz and Clara agreed on when she was in her evil cycle, which of course I've been talking about for the last few chapter reviews, that if Iruma disappeared or was taken away somewhere, they stayed together no matter what, and they'd search for him. No matter how many centuries it took, they would find him. Iruma admits that this made him incredibly happy. Obviously, Azz and Clara are just confused, so Iruma says, I know you two could find me. No matter where, no matter how far, no matter how long it takes, finally saying, please look for me. In this honestly incredible page from Nishi, Iruma barely even looks worried, because he knows that his friends will save save him from anything. This explains his expression I mentioned in my previous chapter review, that he almost looked determined and not scared. Iruma notices that this is an incredibly selfish request, and honestly, this is probably the biggest moment of growth for him in the entire story. Going from a boy who can never say no to anyone, living entirely for the sake of his parents, to a teenager who can ask something so selfish of his friends. Remember that Iruma has never been able to refuse a request, so he would never dare ask one himself. I mean, that's how he even ended up in the demon world to begin with, right? He couldn't say no to being Sullivan's grandson. And we get a flashback to this scene on the cover for chapter 449. And then we get the moment we've all been waiting for over 400 chapters. Iruma confesses that he's not a demon. He is in fact human. Again, a beautiful double spread from Nishi as we cut to them just looking more confused than anything. And honestly, I think this is them just knowing that, yeah, they're not going to see Iruma for a long time and they're just confused. How would they not know this? But Balam, Henry, and Kalego all look, well, distressed because Iruma just completely outed himself and he has no defense anymore. He'll be taken back to Earth as Asmodeus and Clara look on in so much sadness. Why is Nishi doing this to me? But as soon as he's confessed, that's all Narnia needed. So as planned, he takes him away. This actually annoyed me so bad. Obviously, this is all part of his plan. He was letting Iruma speak to Azz and Clara because he knew he was going to confess. As soon as he confessed, yep, that's enough speaking from you, buddy. Then he puts a freaky ass collar on him. Brother, what the hell do you think he's gonna do? But then we see this bastard Amy Azumi again, who has a serious vendetta against Iruma after being made to bow to him by Mephisto. But then my prediction came true. Yep, I don't care. I'm gonna glaze myself because Opera appears pure bloodlusted, and honestly, it's the most terrifying panel in Iruma. The demon that makes Kalego tremble in fear, Sullivan's right hand, and someone who has already pledged to protect Iruma the same way they do for Sullivan. I mean, Opera and Iruma got really close over the course of the story, especially when we saw the chapter right after the Scholar exam. Nishi was telling us exactly what would happen, because Iruma was ranting about how terrified he was about his identity being discovered, and Opera was the one to comfort him, even saying about the exact moment they started to care for Iruma and when they became family. But the important part is that Opera literally says, I am strong. If anyone tries to hurt you, I'll kick them with all my might. No matter what happens, they'll be on Iruma's side. That is their role as Iruma's family. So this is really important to bring up. Nishi was telling us from the very beginning. Remember, Iruma sees both Sullivan and Opera as his parents, so no way that they were going to let this slide. I said this for weeks, that Opera, if it ever came down to this, would be the one to save Iruma and train him. Because not only do I believe this, but Iruma being a human will cause a war in the Netherworld. Now let's rewind back. When Iruma went to the Barbatos clan, and as the 13 Crowns realised that he literally stopped the war from occurring in the Netherworld because the balance was already crumbling, remember that it's kind of been on the brink since Stelkira hasn't been around to control things, and they haven't even had a temporary Demon King for a while. It won't take much to completely destroy the fickle balance that they have. Again, as my Discord guys pointed out, there are multiple crowns on Iruma's side. You have Sullivan, who I will go into more later, don't worry, Amaryllis, Henry, Mephisto, Bachiko. That's 5 members who are 100% on his side, and that's not even talking about all the other powerful demons that are also on Iruma's side, like Balam and Kalego, for example. But then you've got the ones who are definitely against him, like Ball and Narnia and Amdusias, who is a former member, but still. The 13 Crowns will likely break apart completely due to this, and that's not even taking into account that Sullivan was the next candidate as Demon King by most of the Netherworld, and hell, even the other 2 of the 3 Greats wanted him to take up the mantle. He had the most trust, but now that's completely broken since he broke the law to kidnap Iruma. Now, there's another reason I do believe that the 13 Crowns will dismantle and fall apart, and that's because the Misfit class have to eventually become the 13 Crowns, right? I mean, there's 13 of them, they're called the 13 Crowns of Babyls. I mean, come on, they have to take up this mantle. Meaning that, yeah, we are actually getting a lot closer to the end game now, but I've got another prediction as well. I believe Opera will fight like hell to save Iruma. That's their purpose in life, to save their master. I believe that Azumi will get clapped by him with relative ease. Yeah, I know he's a rank 8 demon, but Opera is one of the strongest in the Netherworld, so I believe that they'll win easily. But But when Narnia gets involved and all of the other members of Border Control, not so much, which is when Sullivan will finally appear, stopping time. Now, yeah, I've got another video planned for his true power when it's revealed, but we've seen him stop time before when he saved Babyls, right, from Kirio. So I believe that this is his bloodline magic, time control. He'll save Iruma and Opera, sending them on the run while sacrificing himself to Demon Border Control. Also, Opera being on the run as a criminal with Iruma was actually predicted by the Mafia spin-off, or at least she was kind of planting the seeds, because in that spin-off, Opera was a criminal recruited by Iruma and became his right hand instead of Sullivan's, which is exactly what's happening now. Anyway, I predicted in my last video that Iruma would be on the run with Opera. I also think that Sullivan will have told Mephisto about the situation for extra support in Iruma's escape. That's why he isn't here right now. He let Opera deal with it while he got extra support. That makes the most sense to me. So Iruma will be on the run with Opera and Mephisto with a new goal, to rescue his grandpa, as he'll probably be locked up. This would line up with my theory as well of how Azz and Clara could actually find him without going to the human world as well. I just find it hard to believe that he'll be put in the human world, but again, it's not impossible. Now, I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think that he'll actually end up in the human world again? Or do you think that my theory will come true? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you do want to discuss every Iruma chapter as it comes out, then make sure to join my Discord server, as I've mentioned, probably more in this video than anything else, because shit is going so crazy. So yeah, do that. Check out this video on screen right now. I'll see you guys in the next video.